In presidential politics, the race for the Republican nomination is heating up. Former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty made it official. He will seek the presidency in 2012. He joins an already crowded field of contenders and a long list of possible candidates. EbruNews correspondent Kyle Schmoyer has more on the race for the White House.
It's a political buildup that comes around every 4 years. Who's in and who's out in the run for the White House? We know President Barack Obama wants a second term in 2012, so the Democrats are set. It's the Republicans' turn to battle it out in the fast-approaching primaries.
The people we've seen already, Governor Pawlenty, Newt Gingrich, and others, let's say, who are kind of waiting on the fringes, people like Mitt Romney, I think are sort of testing the waters, seeing whether or not this is winnable.
Ross Baker teaches political science at Rutgers University and has served as a staffer for numerous congressmen in both parties for more than 30 years. He finds the Republican field this time lacking clear frontrunners.
What you have then is a kind of very delicate kind of minuet on the part of these Republican candidates. You know, how conservative can I be now to be able to get the nomination, but not so conservative that I can't back off of some of these things when the general election comes around and I find myself facing a much more diverse audience.
Baker says candidates like former Senator Rick Santorum and Congressman Ron Paul play well to their respective base now, but may not be in it for the long haul.
The one person I see who really has the ability, I think, to maneuver, who's much faster on his feet, is Mike Huckabee. I think he did relatively well in 2008. He won the Republican primary in Iowa. He's a likable guy.
It's a decision that I've got to make very thoughtfully and prayerfully, and it's not.
But Mike Huckabee has decided to pass on a run in 2012. So then there's former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich.
A highly intelligent man who just doesn't know when to stop. You know, he's kind of entranced with his own brilliance. And as a result, I think it causes problems for him.
Of course, there are names people really know.
Name recognition matters. And early in the game, that may be all that these polls are picking up. Donald Trump is an immediately recognizable name. And when people are asked, you know, who do you favor for president, and you get a list of names, it may be that Donald Trump's name is the only name people recognize.
After flirting with the idea for months, Donald Trump now has announced he won't seek the presidency.
Charity, I will not be running for president.
So what about the other media magnate, 2008 Republican vice presidential nominee, Sarah Palin?
She is someone I think is genuinely undecided about whether she wants to continue to run out her string as a celebrity or get back into politics. She's making a great deal of money. She's enormously popular, but with a very small group of Republicans.
And for Baker, the person who will challenge President Obama the most in 2012 will be the one who strikes the best balance over the next year.
You've got within the Republican Party people who really cared very deeply about the social issues, about abortion, same-sex marriage, and so on. And that's the thing that's going to drive them. You've got another group of Republicans who are basically concerned about the deficit and the national debt. And to some extent they converge, but not perfectly. So the person who is trying to seek the Republican nomination has got to find some combination of appeals.
So the most likely person at this point?
If this were 1948, which it isn't, Mitt Romney would be the person. He's the kind of traditional business-oriented Republican who ends up with the most support. He's reassuring, he's not radical.
But Professor Baker believes, like 2008, this just isn't Mitt Romney's year either. Rather, he points to former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty as one who may best survive the Republican primaries, win the party's nomination, and challenge President Barack Obama in the general election, Carrie.
All right, so the race is heating up, Kyle, and there are also some other names that are being tossed in there. Who else are we talking about?
You know, just in the last week or so, we've heard names like Governor Mitch Daniels of Indiana. He started to make forays into states like Iowa and New Hampshire, those early states in the primaries where it's very important to start getting your name out. We're also hearing within the last week about Senator Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota. She is a Tea Party favorite. She actually heads the caucus in Congress right now, and since Mike Huckabee dropped out of the race, said he's not going to run, a lot of Tea Party people are favoring Bachmann at this point. So those are two names to watch over the next couple weeks to to see if they make it official. But stay tuned.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much for that story.